Hey guys, it's been a while since I've made a video. I've been going through a rough time recently. I'll just share a little bit about that real quick and then I'll jump into it. So my mother was recently diagnosed with thyroid cancer, which cancer is like the big word nowadays where you hear that and it's like there's a death sentence on my life, and so it just is really scary and not understood. And so my mother went to thyroid surgery, and in order to do thyroid surgery they basically have to cut your throat, and I can only imagine the fear that was in her, and it was very difficult for me as her son, living in Abilene, kind of far away, unable to do anything. And I realized, in all my life, everything I've done, I am without power. I have no power. There's nothing in me that I can do. There's nothing. The only power that God has given me is love. And that brings me to my story. I heard a story from Ken Freeman, if you've heard of him. He's an awesome evangelist and you should look him up. He has an amazing story. But he told a story one time about a man who needed a heart transplant. This man went into the doctor's office and the doctor told him, "Hey, I don't think you're going to make it, man. We need to get you on the list, the donors list, and we need to get you a heart right away. Otherwise, who knows, you could have days, weeks, minutes. We don't know how long you're going to last. Your heart is failing." And this man shook his fist at God and was like, "God, I've done things for you. I've lived for you. I've done all the good in my life. Why is this happening to me?" And of course, there was no answer. Long story short, it transitions to this girl who's driving in the car with her friends. She's riding passenger seat, and they get into a car wreck out of nowhere, and the car's totaled. Her friends are all killed upon impact, and she's within an inch of her life. She's rushed to the emergency room, airlifted, and they get her there, and they see that she's marked as a donor, and so they await her to pull through or to die, and they're just ready there to collect her organs. And she ends up passing away. She ends up losing her life. And through the autopsy, they find out nothing can be donated but her heart. Her heart is the only organ that was left untouched. Her only organ that was left beautiful and perfect. So this heart was airlifted to this man. This man that needed life, was in an inch of his life, now had a new heart coming his way. He was rushed into surgery. They put the heart in. Everything was great. Everything went smooth. No complications. And he's on his way to recovery. The man, after everything wears off, all the medication, he wakes up and he sees everybody, all of his family, his friends, his wife, all crying. And these aren't tears of joy like, "Honey, you're alive. You're going to make it. You're great." They're tears of sadness and terror. And the man says, "Am I all right, honey?" to his wife. And the wife goes, "Honey, you're going to be great. The surgery was awesome. You're going to live many more years." And the husband goes, "Okay, well then what's wrong? Your tears aren't tears of joy. What is this about?" And she says, "Well, honey, that heart inside of you," and begins to break up, begins to cry. And the husband says, "What? What about the heart inside of me? Is it okay?" She said, "The heart's great. It's in perfect condition. It's young." And she said, "The only problem is," and he said, "What's the problem?" "That heart inside of you was our daughter's. That heart inside of you, our daughter died last night. And through her death, you were given a heart. Now let this settle with you for a second. This man's daughter died and gave him life. This man's daughter died, and her heart is now beating inside his chest. And the only reason he woke up from that surgery is because of his daughter's death. The only reason he has many more years left is because of his daughter's death. Now I'm going to transition here, and let's see if you can get what I'm trying to say here. What did God do for us? He sent His one and only Son to die for us, to give us a heart transplant, to make us brand new beings, and to give us life with Him, to give us a relationship with Him. But how do we repay Him? You see, if my daughter died so that I may have life, if her heart was beating inside of me, would I not live accordingly? Would I not live differently? Would I not live to honor her and the life she has given me? I undoubtedly would, and I know many of you would too. But in the same way, how is Christ any different? How is Christ dying for us and giving us life and giving us perfection in a new body? How is that any different? But how do we repay Him? How do we live? How do we honor Him? On a daily basis we fail. On a daily basis we mess up. And that's normal. But do we continue to live in sin? Do we continue to pursue our own wants and forget the gift that was given? Forget that God had His Son come here to die, to pass from this life, so that we may live, so that we may be free. Let that resonate in your hearts. And I pray, this is my prayer, through all my struggles, I realize so many things happen, so many struggles, so many storms, but all of them, in all of them, no matter how hard, we must always work. We must always work to honor the life we've been given. Thank you. God bless y'all.